like to call the meeting to order at 6:01, Monday, July 27th. Let the record reflect that all elected board members are here. Mary Ann is excused absence. Roll, pledge allegiance. It's been a month since we've been here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes to our tiny little agenda?
No, ma'am.
Good news and celebrations.
We wanted to celebrate, we attached an image there that Mr. Whitteman's class had made a custom saw for the Grand Marshal of the Sultan Shindig. So I think just a good example of some of the work that's done in our CTE programs that I think is highlighted, and wanted to take a moment to celebrate that and share that. Secondly, I would share that I think I told you before, we applied for an AI grant, so we did get awarded that grant, $25,000 grant, to work with teachers on developing protocols and procedures around the use of AI in the classroom, with the hopes that we would bring some sort of procedural thing to the board of here's how we see it moving forward. So we were a recipient of that and appreciate receiving that. I think that's good news. Also, the final pieces of the weight room equipment are headed this way, so that grant that we've been talking about this year that paid for the new equipment, it's shipped by freight, so slow over the road, but it's on its way. So as soon as that gets delivered and set up, we'll take some good pictures and put that out and remind people that that was grant funded. None of that came from. So that's what I got for good news.
Thank you. We had no previously asked questions because we had no public comment last meeting, and we have no public comment this meeting. Monthly financial report. Mitch, you're up.
Yep, you're up.
All right, let's let this be the longest one. It's a joke, all right.
Can we just put yours under good news and celebrations?
Well, how about just news and celebrations? All right, so enrollment really didn't change because June's pretty much the last month. There are a couple that come in July, like Running Start. We get to count some extra numbers, and then the Open Doors program. So as far as FTE, we do have a few corrections we gotta make throughout the year in a couple of the departments, but so we'll see a little bit of a change as we go. So showed this to you last month. I kind of like this. I'm gonna keep it in there to show the month over month progression of enrollment. ALE up just a touch, still not where we need it to be. And then SPED numbers, you can see them actually growing above the line. So we have surpassed. Now, unfortunately, we base our enrollment on a year average. So the fact that we started below the line and then we ended up at the end of the line above it means there's a lot more SPED than just the 389.33 that's in that number, because that's the annual average. So here's our SPED month to month. You can see the numbers. June was up to 418. And I believe we're gonna start the year quite higher. All right, so here's the fund balance. I'm gonna talk just a little bit about the difference between fund balance and cash balance, because the cash balance at the county is gonna drop. You're gonna see the next slide, it's gonna drop actually below zero. So our fund balance is sitting at 3.8 or 381,000. I wish it was 381,000. It's in a positive. Now, one of the things is we're accrual based, so we record revenues when we know the revenues, and we've earned the revenues. So I was telling Gigi earlier that I billed the county for the SSA grant for this year, and so that was 6 months of billing, and that's $170,000. Well, we get to count that revenue, but we don't have the cash yet. So that's just a good example of why the numbers are different. And then the cash on this next slide, the cash with the county doesn't include the cash at the local bank that we use for direct deposit. So some counties will let you run your direct deposits out of the county's bank account. Our county does not, you have to have your own. So we have to pull money from the county and drop it in. So our cash at the county at the end of the last month was $146,000 in the hole. Now, we weren't negative yet because that takes out the outstanding warrants. So though, we've got enough outstanding warrants that we were still positive with cash. But last month was the month that we borrowed. We borrowed from capital projects and we borrowed $1 million. So the goal is by the end of this year to pay that $1 million back and end up at some kind of a positive ending fund balance. If we end up only positive, but we still owe capital projects and we owe more than our positive amount, we are still gonna start the year on binding conditions. And so the goal is to get us to positive, so we don't start out behind. I mean, we're behind. I mean, we started out beginning of this year at a $2.6 million fund balance. And if we spend it all, then we spent too much. My opinion. All right, ASB numbers, kids are doing great with their numbers. Next year, we're gonna see a little bit of a switch because we're gonna take all the athletics, the officials' fees, the price for safety equipment, all of that's gonna come out of general fund. But that also means that the revenues for the pay to play and the get receipts go to general fund to help offset that balance. So the kids aren't responsible for that. They shouldn't be responsible for that. That is a general fund expenditure, in my opinion. Again, more than you asked for. Smiles, everybody, smiles. Capital projects, we're at 2.5 million. That's after loaning ourselves the money. And transportation vehicle fund, we paid that bus that we bought in June. We bought a short bus this last year, or shorter bus. I mean, it's not, but we paid it, so we're down to 86,000. We're gonna get depreciation revenue this next month, almost 300,000. So it's in the budget, in the preliminary, the draft budget, to buy another big bus this next year.
While you're on this, can I ask a question?
Sure.
When the surplus sale info went out and there's buses on there, I saw some people commenting, why are they selling buses and they're buying new buses? Can you quickly explain the depreciation and?
So whenever you buy a bus, depending on the size of the bus, you get money back from the state for that bus. It's depreciation. They just changed the law this last year. It used to be 13 years for a big bus and 8 years for a small bus. And now it's 15 years for a big bus and 10 years for a small bus. Now, the way they do it is they do a rolling average as they're paying the depreciation payments. So you get, don't do math in my head. But you get 1 month out of all of these months worth of depreciation for that time period. And then they figure out how much you're gonna get for the year, and then you get that, But it's always based on the rolling average until the very last year. And that very last year, it's based on the current price to replace that bus plus sales tax. So that's why usually the last year of depreciation on buses is the biggest year for revenue. So,
but they're probably wondering why we're getting rid of buses and buying new ones.
Yeah.
So are we by law having to retire buses at a certain point?
there's no law that says you have to retire a bus at a certain point. My goal is to keep at least half of the buses on depreciation, and we're over half, because that will help you replenish your fleet. You keep your fleet new. Now, there is a short bus on the schedule that needed a new transmission. And it it was determined that it was better to get a new bus than to fix that one. Now, we've been doing the summer feeding program, and we're giving to every kid that shows up. And if you don't have the kids with you, you fill out a form of the kids and their age, 18 and under. They get 7 breakfasts and 7 lunches in one shot. And so we've been running, our biggest one that we've had so far was 101 kiddos. And that's 101 times 14 meals. So we've had to borrow the box truck from here to transport the food. Otherwise, we're using 2 or 3 vehicles to do it. And so the idea came across, and I'm gonna give this one to Renee, because she was like, you should take the short bus out of surplus. And we could take the seats out, and then that becomes your summer feeding, your food service vehicle. And it was like, that's great, that's an amazing idea. So, so there may be a bus on there for depreciate, or to get rid of, but we're gonna keep the short bus. There is no law that says you have to get rid of it. I mean, there are school buses that have 200,000-300,000 miles on them, and districts are still running them. I didn't like to have a bus in my fleet that was more than 20 years old, but I've had them. And sometimes those are the buses that don't, we have some buses that don't run a ton of miles. And it just depends on the shape the bus is in. But our mechanics do a great job of keeping our buses relatively newer, better shape, so we don't have to go through them. But if we're gonna get the money from the state to replenish those buses and keep them new, the newer they are, the less work we have to do on them. And so that's the mindset behind.
That makes sense.
So if we show that we get rid of them, we gotta get more money toward new.
Yeah,
And when we do get rid of them, when we sell a bus, that money goes into transportation vehicle fund. So, short story long is my.
no, cause I just seen some comments about like, getting rid of buses, but I think people don't understand like the depreciation and receiving money for a certain amount of years.
You're
so
playing the number
Thank
game.
you.
Those dollars don't come out of the levy dollars or anything from,
They do not come out of the levy dollars. It is
the local taxes don't support new buses then?
technically, no.
Thank you.
Debt service, so that we could see in May, the beginning of June, we made our debt service payment for our 3 non-voted debt. So this is the typical up and down and up and down. So we got a few more years to pay on that. So this was my original year-over-year comparison, expenditures, where we're at percentage-wise versus what we budgeted for. It was pointed out by Mike that it really isn't as comparative as we really should be looking at. We should be looking at what are our revenues versus our expenditures and where we're at. And so the first one was expenditures, this was the revenue percentage, so this is where we're at. So compared to last year where we were 1.7 million spent, or almost 1.8 million, where we spent more than we brought in, we're at 2.2 million. So we're up $450,000-$500,000 over where we were last year. Here's the 3-year comparison. So June of 2024, $294,000 revenues or expenditures over revenues. June of 2025, $1.5 million more. And then here we are, another 450-ish. It's not the right trend.
Would you say it's mostly because everything is more expensive nowadays?
That's part of it. It's more expensive. It's the way they've set up apportionment, and the legislature has funded MSOC and salaries at IPD, and yet everything goes up by CPI. And so the consumer price index, it's based on Seattle's consumer price index as opposed to the implicit price deflator. The implicit price deflator is a lower number. And then they use different times of the year for salary versus MSOC. So your IPD could be different from the two. And yet, yeah, costs continue to rise. It doesn't get cheaper to get water in Sultan. It just continues to get a little more expensive, Electricity. I haven't seen rates go down in electricity, so there are things that just keep costing us more and more and more. And there's no single raindrop believes it's to blame for the flood. And we have a ton of raindrops.
Anybody have questions?
No.
Isaac?
From a couple years ago to now, I'm still blown away how we can go from everything being borderline to suddenly being so in debt. I mean, it's just insane to me. We haven't approved any massive spending. I'm just blown away by this.
So throughout the years, the government hasn't done us any favors.
I know.
COVID hits and we just throw money at the problem. And we make it easier because now people can work remotely and they don't have to, it's not quite as, you're not quite as visible. And you don't have to operate as much of your buildings. But then you bring things back and that money goes away. And costs have continued to rise. Inflation it sucks.
Just in salaries alone, we're almost at $1.8 million difference between last year and this year.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if you just look at the comparison between 25 and 26,
It's hefty.
just south of 1.8 million.
And one of the things I pointed out to
That doesn't include
OSPI.
payroll taxes either, that which are over.
was when they put PFML in, paid family medical leave, it's required by the state. There's an employer portion and employee portion. But it didn't change their percentage that they give to schools for benefits. So like July is the month where we pay the national board certification bonus. And basically they cover FICA, Medicare, retirement, that's it. But I have to pay a PFML on it. So there are little things that are not paid attention to by the legislature that we have to eat.
Unfunded mandates that we get that
Unfunded mandates, yes.
we just keep adding and adding and adding.
Great ideas, some great ideas,
Pay us for it.
but no money to pay for it.
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it.
Such a.
Alright, legislative report, there really isn't one. We're not gonna know who, Chris and I were talking the other day a little bit, but I was thinking about it. We can't do a lot until the August primary to know who's gonna be like the final people running, so we can get, planning and stuff to invite them to come and all that. So don't forget to vote. Once that's done, then we'll know who we can talk to. Superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. Positive news, we've successfully settled our last labor agreement last week, so all three of our labor agreements are closed now. We have a 3-year deal with the Teamsters, which is bus drivers, 3-year deal with teachers, 1-year deal with PSE. So we'll be back at the bargaining table in the spring with classified staff. But appreciate all of our labor partners, their bargaining teams, our bargaining teams for the willingness to get in and kind of get the work done. We can't run the district without all these employees serving kids, so it's good to have them all settled in June and not be going into August. I think that's a testament to our labor partners and to our district leadership team to say like we are building good relationships that allow us to get those things done early. and people have confidence, so I think those should be positive takeaways. And all three labor groups vote to ratify at a different time based on when their employees come back to work. So I would expect we need at least one special call, 7:30 a.m., 3-minute meeting to approve a labor agreement that may not be there before August 24th meeting. So I think we'll have one or two of them probably done by the August meeting, but there'll be at least one that they won't be able to ratify till after, so. But thank everybody for their work on that. I did attach to the superintendent's report the board meeting dates for the upcoming school year. We had talked about taking those agenda reviews down to quarterly, and then so those board meeting dates are posted and they're on there if anybody's looking for those. And then also posted a copy of the year-end report that I had sent to you guys as well. That's the one that's going to go out to all the community. So we used to send out the calendar. We never recently have had any of the information in time to really make it meaningful. So this is a year-end report that will go to the community as kind of where we are academically, financially, kind of the state of the district. This is a good way for us to also preview what's ahead, so we talk a little bit about the bond issue in November and start to get the word out. So we'll continue to do this every year as just a wrap up of what's happening in the district. I think it's a good communication tool, probably more effective than just a calendar. It's telling them where we are, and hopefully we'll stimulate some conversation around the goals that we're working on or what we have going on in the district. So attach that. Our next board meeting is August 24th. You will hear from all of the campus principals that day, all on the same night for school improvement. So I talked to Gigi. I'm asking that we start that part at 5 p.m. and do about 5 to 5:45 with them, take a small break before the regular meeting at 6. And we'll have the budget, public input on the budget at 6. We'll adjourn that part and then go to the regular meeting and finish our regular business meeting so that we're not, so you'll hear from principals in August and then again in February as a whole group. And then each month we'll have a different person like we did in the spring. So we'll start working with them next week. They come back to work on the 4th, Tuesday. So and then offices open on the 17th of August to the public. So we gave the principals and their admin assistants about 7 days together where people can make appointments, but they're not just generally open, so they can try to get some of the nuts and bolts work done and ready for teachers when they come back, so. Last thing I have is I sent you a calendar invite, but on October 22nd is when they're hosting the regional meeting with legislators at the Everett School District office at 3 to 5 p.m. So I just wanted to make sure that's on your radar if people can go show a presence. Advocacy was one of our things we were going to focus on, so I think it's a good for those that can attend. It's a little bit tricky because 3 to 5 p.m. is a little bit harder for, right? If you're able to go, let me know. Maybe we can carpool and get out there. Parking is already a little bit of a challenge out there. So that's all I have tonight.
Do you remember when you sent the invite for that? I didn't
No.
see it, but okay,
I can resend it.
cause I see the others, but I didn't see that one.
Okay, yeah, I can resend it. It's not
Probably
big
just
deal.
me, so,
Just easier to get it on the calendar
yeah,
before other things get
yes.
scheduled, so.
Any questions or comments about the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, consent agenda passes. Then we have approval of policy 3231 first read.
Yeah, this policy deals with student records, has an update that is considered critical from WASDA. We have the next series of WASDA critical updates Kayla and I are gonna try to work on and get a larger group done by August 24th meeting, but this one with the transition to a new student information system, getting the records one updated was important to get done now, so we're just asking for approval for the records update.
Anybody have questions on this, Isaac? Michael, no?
No.
Can I get a motion to approve first read of policy 3231?
Motion to approve first read of policy 3231.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, that passes. And then we have approval of resolution 2512 bond measure.
Yeah, so this is, we previously adopted resolution 2510, I believe is the number. This will invalidate that one. The team, Mitch, Dr. Douglas, Charlie, myself, our attorney on the bond side, our attorney on capital long-range planning side, we have tried to navigate some conversations with OSPI. I think we've met 6 times with OSPI. Their current interpretation of the WAC is that if we were to build the high school on a new site, we would have to surplus the entire high school, couldn't serve any K-12 students. So you can't use it as you can use it as a district office, you can use it as alternative learning. But we met with a variety of people, we asked for second and third opinions. While we made some progress, not enough to feel comfortable to get in front of the voters and say this. The meeting I had last week with one of our bond attorneys said, we're lucky we found this out now. People have been finding out after their bond has passed how OSPI is interpreting things around SCAP funding. So in order to maximize our state match dollars, we need to build on the high school site that we have. So it's the same dollar amount. It's just a modification to the previous resolution. It also has language in there that cancels the previous resolution, so there's no confusion. We have to file it by August 4th to get on the ballot. So we did our due diligence, in my opinion, to try to chip away at this, but we need those state match dollars. Otherwise, we could do it. We could build a school wherever we want, but we'd have to do it solely with bond funding, which would increase the ask of the local taxpayers. And I think one of our core values is to be fiscally responsible and maximize dollars that are not in the pocketbooks of our taxpayers. So long explanation to say bringing a new resolution to reflect that.
Like, I was in the office and I'm like, should I call Chris Reichdahl? I don't like this, like, and it was like,
We
they
can't,
said
we
they've
won't
talked to everyone
get
else.
tax money, or we won't get state money if we build on new property. Is that what you
For
just
the high
said?
school, so we
For
had
the
to
high school.
build it on the same site that the high school is now.
No,
You can't use that site for school. So we were gonna move the middle school to the high school
Right.
site. We can't do that. If we new in lieu construct on an alternate site, we have to surplus the building properties that are on there to serve non-K-12 functions.
That was the stupidest thing.
Yeah, I promise you, Mitch and I and Chart, we've been around and around about how that makes total sense in a community that's growing and it's just adding schools.
Right.
This is trying to utilize what our taxpayers have afforded us the opportunity to own in the best way for our community. But if we do that, we can't maximize the state match dollars, so we're trying to operate within the sandbox that they gave us. I think there will be some advantages. We're still gonna be able to do included in there are still turfing the baseball and softball field. Now they're gonna be right by the high school where they are. They'll just have improvements. It'll be a 2-story building instead of a 1-story, because the footprint looks obviously a little different. Because if you're building where students are going to school, we have to build that a little different. But our architect, Zervis, did a great job, in my opinion, of taking into account the Broughton property that we have that's right next door, that's also going to, that trailer's coming off this summer as one of our summer projects, so that they can get in and clear that area and maximize it. So try to focus on the positive, and that is, we still need a new high school. We still own property for the future, so that I wouldn't say that, in 5 or 10 years, probably 10 or more, the bond goes and the district may decide to build a new elementary up on the basin. You don't have to worry about not surplusing that, because you're not gonna keep that building. But the high school would still serve the district well, so we just wanna do what we think is right by the voters within the bounds of what their current interpretation of the rules are. And after talking to the attorney last week, I was like, well, when he said, well, some people aren't finding out till after their bond passes, and I'm like, well, that'd be terrible. I mean, to
And I'm
pivot.
like, well, their interpretation is wrong.
So,
Yeah,
I give credit, I think, to the team, Mitch and Charlie. I mean, everybody did a great job of trying to say, like, this is what our community would benefit the most from, but they control the SCAP dollars. We don't get to decide how that works. So, Mitch, did I miss anything, or?
questions?
Do we have any new drawings, or
We do,
are we gonna release those?
yes.
The next question would be, that type of construction already on a school property? I mean, the logistics of getting everything to work properly.
Yeah, so we met, Charlie and I, because I think Mitch was in another meeting, Charlie and I, the architect came up to the district last week before, no, last week. And they know how many feet they need between the building. Actually, Kayla, if you can give me the screen, I can probably,
Well, and can we
But, I
get
mean-
the architect to come
Yeah, yeah.
to one of our board meetings and go over this with
Also-
us?
Access the roads in and, I mean,
The whole
that's,
thing is just wouldn't be.
Yeah, with access, you can actually access from the Broughton property from
Okay.
Fourth, right across from the middle school.
create a,
Right up.
make a road.
But yeah, if we could invite
There's a
them
lot
up
of
to go
property that we
over.
have now, I mean, it's just gonna be a.
and they will be,
Logistics.
if the bond passes, they'll be up. They just, early, they only do really conceptual things because you still have a committee of people that get together and say, this is what the school will look like. So they're very cautious to not put something out that people are like, I thought we were gonna have input, you already decided what the school's gonna look like. So these are very rough, just estimations of what it'll look like so that we can still get the committee together
I think
to,
just addressing the concerns
Yeah.
like that we have, everybody else is gonna have the same concerns, like how are you
Yeah.
building the new school where kids are going to school, you know, all that
it's a
stuff.
very common thing. Actually, when we built the new high school in Blaine, we had to phase build it with kids in it. So it's something that we are familiar with. So, and they are too. So what this looks like is, the red outline is the existing school
Okay.
right now. We know we wanna keep the gym because having two gyms specifically in the athletic conference we're moving in is an advantage. Because to have a JV gym or a C-team gym where you're not having to play back-to-back, potentially two boys games, two girls games at the same time. So then they incorporated that to say, how do we take that piece of what we want and still utilize it to build off of? The 300 building, I think is what Charlie said this is called, is where the district office would repurpose, cause you can do that. So this would be a 2-story, 24 to 28 classroom area. This would be the main entrance, so you would have the office, the commons, and those things would be closer to the gym and athletic areas. So you'd have your classroom wings and you'd have your auxiliary wings. So what they are proposing would be for the bus loop to come in. The buses currently come in this way, but they go up here and drop off. That you would build a bus loop, which is something Charlie's been asking for, so that they would drop off in front and you would have the buses separated from parent and student parking and then staff parking. So this is the entrance that currently is not pushed through off the Broughton property. And that, according to Charlie's estimation and talking to the architects in a preliminary conversation, would not be a 2-lane road, it would be in only. So you would come in to drop your students off and exit where the current is because of the width of that road and the improvements that they'd likely require if we wanted to try to do something like that.
So this is the Broughton area right here? Oh, this is all of our new,
No, it's this to right, it's like this little,
is it, this
Corner.
is the road down to existing, correct?
no, the existing road is right through here.
It is that whole,
Yeah, just that little,
because you can see
Yeah.
the trailer there.
so this is the area we don't see right now though.
The top part of it. Some of this is already parking down here. So what they were talking about the other day and we just had a really preliminary conversation, is they would have them come in and grade this, just a graded parking lot. that they would have to finish after construction. So you would grade it, cause you know you're gonna bring in construction equipment, so you know that they're gonna have to deal with it after. So don't finish it all the way off with sealing it and doing all that, because then you're gonna just tear it up with construction traffic and then have to redo it after. So build that into the plan so that it can withstand the construction traffic and it has a full seal with painting and everything at the end of it.
So another question,
Yes.
because we're staying on the same property and building a two-story there, is the plan still to have the middle school at the old building?
No, the middle school will stay at the middle
So,
school.
but this construction would only be to add at the high school only?
Right. But Gold Bar will still become K2, and that's what this one is here. Which looks very similar to what it looked like before when you saw it, cause there hasn't been a need to change the Gold Bar project at all. So this is the existing structure, this is the added classrooms in that color, this is the gym and music area. With the bus lane coming in the back, we own all behind the school as well. So students would be dropped off in the back entrance and you would have parent drop off in the front. So you'd be able to separate the bus traffic and car traffic there as well.
Yet the same amount of money being asked.
Yes. Cause you're still building the same facilities, you're just,
But we're not adding though, we're adding space for the high school, but we're not switching everything. We're not adding a whole new campus, is what I'm saying.
Right.
We're just, the middle school's still not moving, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
How many dollars were dedicated to the middle school?
not much, cause we needed to retain the SCAP match for the next project 10 years down the road. So dollars left in the bond can still address the middle school and elementary. Just your primary projects are gonna be the high school and Gold Bar, just as they were.
So maybe you go over real quick, like, so Gold Bar is gonna go K through 2,
Right.
SES.
SES will be 3 through 5,
Okay.
and middle school will be 6, 8. So what you had before was the middle school grade levels moving to the high school, and 3rd through 5th moving to the elementary, or moving to the middle school site.
But SES is where most of our maintenance problems are, isn't it?
No,
No?
which is where we have the most portables, but you're still
Well,
gonna
yeah,
address,
yeah.
you're still gonna address that because
Yeah, it'd be-
you're moving the grade bands and shrinking that building down to 3 grade levels instead of 6.
yeah. Wow, it's a huge change
Major.
at the last minute.
And then the district office would go at the high school.
Instead
There's
of at
enough
the
room-
elementary where it was, yeah.
There's enough room for
Yes.
everybody.
What's that little dotted blue area? What does that say, DO?
That's a
District
district
office.
Got it.
Do you?
Cause you can repurpose the building to non-educational spaces. So you don't have to,
So what's being built for the high school is just gonna be classrooms?
no, classrooms, cafeteria, gym, CTE spaces, they're just built over here. So it is the same number of classrooms and the same square footage and same programmatic builds, it's just being built
So
on site.
then what do we do, do we have plans for like the current cafeteria and all, like what the
Yeah,
current
everything in the
building-
red gets demolished. But you need it while you're building, so the reason it's there is cause there's enough space here that you can cordon it off so that you don't have kids constructing, cause if they do the grading, the initial grading of the parking lot first, and the buses continue to come in off here, they can enter the current high school through the auxiliary gym that's there right now and go upstairs or up the elevator to the campus, so you can still build without disrupting.
Man, I don't like
Campus.
this at all. Cause now we're destroying, once it's done, we're gonna get rid of the whole entire, or a good amount of those.
Is there anything else we can repurpose that current building to and still get money?
No.
So then
I mean,
what,
if you didn't have a transportation building or, but we,
Yeah.
you know,
so then what's gonna be, so the demolished area, is that just gonna be like a grassy field?
it could be a field, it could be additional parking, cause it's gonna be by the gym, it could, I mean, It's what, it can be whatever we want it to be.
I think we just need to wrap our heads around the change and
I think, scrambling and this is a great answer when you're,
having to play by the rules they.
yeah. It's a,
So you,
I feel like we're losing a lot of the best selling points that we had.
Yeah, big time.
Tell me more about that. What selling point do you think we're
We're
missing?
missing instead of adding a whole new campus and repurposing the high school and moving around for growth and everything, we're now gonna try to be selling new building for the high school, but demolishing the old school. And for the selling point is we're we're getting rid of something that is usable. I mean, it's a major change. We're erasing one new campus and just trying to, with the same amount of money, reboot the same campus. That's gonna be a hard sell right now.
We're sticking in some of the we're sticking in SES, which is having, I think it's got a lot of maintenance troubles, so we're still staying there and keeping students in there. I understand we're getting rid of a lot of the portables. A lot of that selling was, hey, we're getting some of those younger kids out of the floodplain.
And that's still happening.
Yeah, I mean.
From the
yes,
CFAC, the two major things were get the young kids out of the floodplain, give us some community spaces, which we're still doing.
And
In my
SES,
opinion.
has SES changed from the previous plan to this plan?
It was gonna be the district office.
Yeah, it was gonna,
Now it's,
we're
yeah,
gonna be students in there, and
Yeah.
then I think the next plan was to build a new school in the backyard,
right.
so we
Based on this, you
cycling.
wouldn't be building there anyway, cause they're gonna give you the same argument unless they reinterpret you're gonna build the new elementary up on the basin in 10 years.
So that's what that's gonna be, but to build up
We
there,
already
are we
had
gonna
problems
get?
getting an elementary on the basin.
We'll need another one.
I'm not.
It's not about,
I'm not
it's
trying to be
not about you,
difficult.
Chris, it's more of the situation.
Are we gonna have a problem? I don't know, it depends. I mean, at that point, if enrollment continues to decline across the state the way it is, you may decide that you wanna do a 3-7
Sure,
campus and do an 8-12 high school. I mean,
sure, yeah, I mean.
you'll have a brand new 28 to 32 room high school with new CTE facilities that could function for different grade bands. I mean,
I hear
you know,
I get it. I mean, I think a big part of it is demolishing
That's gonna be a big outcry.
the buildings that.
but if we don't, I mean, if we build a new high school, it'll just be a great big building that nobody can use.
I bet people are gonna like,
Then we're gonna be paying to,
I mean, the alternative would be tack another 15 million. What's our match for the high school? 15?
I have to look it up.
I mean, and say it's all bond funded. We're not going to use any state match dollars, but that puts the burden on the local taxpayer.
Right.
oh, we don't wanna do that. I think,
Wait, we're talking about going from 140 to 155?
No. This is what's in front of you is 140 million.
Well,
What I'm
I
saying is, if you
understand.
didn't take state match and you said, "Forget it, we want to build on the basin a new high school,"
Right,
you can do that. You just can't take any state match for it.
well, I understand, but I'm
How much
saying,
is the state
I'm
match?
saying if the state match is 15 mil, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not chump change. But when you look at it compared to already spending 140, an extra 15 doesn't seem like
is there
a huge jump.
a way that we can trim $15 million out of the current project to get it to the 140?
That's gonna be tough.
I'm asking, and I know I'm somebody that's a component of the new turf field and the
yeah.
community service, but is that something that can be put on hold to ensure that we have? But the thing about it is, no matter what, then if we don't use the SCAP fund, then we could repurpose the high school for the middle school.
Yes.
So if, just talking out loud, public, don't hang me.
Just the high school at the basin is 122 million.
At the base.
So you're talking about having to get, and Gold Bar's project is north of 30 million. So you're talking about,
What's 152?
I mean,
what's an extra 15 million?
ish,
Not,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm just asking, I mean, I know that part of it was for the demo of the elementary school. I know
Right.
part of it was for the turf,
The community fields,
community
yeah.
fields. If we were to put on hold the district office and the community fields, how much money would that save us?
Probably not that much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and then also how much does 15 million add to
I mean, yeah,
taxes?
how much more tax burden does 15 million add?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay it, but when you look at, I mean, we're,
I mean, we looked at it, it was
10
around a
cents or-
253 increase, I think, in taxes. Do you have Trevor's thing
I mean, it's
on
a
your
10
computer?
10% increase.
So I
Give-
mean,
I mean, roughly.
going up another, we stopped collecting the capital levy at 90 cents to help
Mhm.
alleviate the tax burden.
Yeah.
Um, And we don't have to put it on the November ballot, we can wait. It's just, February is I think gonna be more challenging, cause the voter turnout in November is gonna be high, because there's a lot of initiatives that are gonna be in front of the voters, so.
Yeah.
If we don't run in November, I wouldn't recommend running in February, because I don't think you'll validate with voter turnout on an off cycle. That's just
I think November is it, but I think
my
that
opinion.
everybody has some concerns.
I hate to say it, but I think we probably should pause,
I agree.
in my opinion. I
Yeah,
think we need to bring the group
That's
back
dr-
together.
that's not light change, that's drastic.
I mean, I think if we could give a few more options to the public and say, hey, because I know that we really wanted to move middle school, we wanted to move the elementary. I hate to say the state dictating to what we can do with our buildings that the public's already bought.
That's crap.
Not saying that we can change it, but to utilize that building rather than to tear it down, if we can reutilize it, and if it's a cost of 20 cents more for the levy, or for the bond, maybe we can entertain that. I mean, that, nobody wants that, but
I'd rather move, sorry, don't wanna cut you off, but I'd rather move forward asking for the fully funded ourselves than to turn around and make such a drastic, it feels too much like we've already put the idea out, and it feels too much like a bait and switch at the last minute.
Okay, let me
To
ask
change the
this.
plan.
Can
that
we
big.
put, for whatever needs to be filed with the state or the county on the 5th or the 4th or whatever it is, does that have to be exactly our plan of what we wanna do? Or can we say we want to do 155 million and then figure out before we need to like officially put it in the ballot that we only need 140?
So you can always run your bond for more. The max we can ask for debt based on our property values is about 170,000. We have 3 million in outstanding
170 million.
170 million.
That's the number then, 107, listen.
And we have about 3 million in outstanding non-voted debt, so that means we could only go out for maybe $167 million. That would put, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I know that it would increase, it would increase your dollars per thousand,
But can we-
But you can rent it and then you don't have to sell them.
Sure.
Yes. It's no different than a regular levy that you run, you don't have to charge the voters for what they voted for the levy. You
So
can charge
if they
them
approved
less.
155, but we only ended up spending 130, we wouldn't have to get all.
Right, the trick is, all of our projects together, the 912 SCAP is about 16.7, 18 million. And so we were thinking between that and the elementary that we would get, and when I say elementary, it's K-8, so it's elementary middle that the SCAP ranges go by. So, we were thinking we would get maybe 40 million? 30 million. for those extra projects, so it,
Doesn't Gold Bar still qualify for SCAP?
so Gold Bar is part of our K-8 SCAP, yes.
Yeah, so we'll still retain those dollars.
Right.
So the only dollars that we won't retain would be the high school if we chose to put the high school on
Right.
the hill.
So, and you said that's about 18 million.
Yeah,
So it'd be
So-
about 158
58 million.
million is what we would go to the voters and ask for.
But can we not do a resolution that says the like 158? You can't then, like when it gets closer to time, say, wait a minute, we only need 140?
No, because you have to file it so they can create the voters pamphlet. The deadline is August 4th, which is next week.
That's for like the voter, okay.
Yeah, so because you're limited to 75 words between the colon and the,
Because nobody's gonna buy, if we say, okay, we're gonna do this for 158, but we might not use all of it, no one's gonna buy that.
No.
Sure.
So that's not a selling point at all.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna say like, well, if you're gonna get 150, you're gonna take it all and you're gonna spend it all.
Sure. Well, let's be honest, I mean, if it was
had
approved,
to.
we would fix
More
everything
things.
we
Yeah,
could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we still will within the 140 million. It's
Mhm.
just you're gonna get more state dollars than local dollars.
And if we don't approve this today, we don't run in November. And if
Or
we
we
don't,
need to have another special meeting between now and,
What does it cost to run it? Isn't it last time I was told like anywhere from 25 to 50,000?
Well, I think it would be
depends on
lower
how
because we're
many
sharing the
things-
ballot.
It all
Sorry.
depends on how many are
on the
on that.
ballot.
so
Got it.
November is the
Ballot,
cheaper
so-
one. So if we don't do November, we don't want really, I personally don't wanna do a February, cause that's a
I agree
lot
with you.
harder.
I
So
would
we're
want
looking at doing possibly
November.
next November. So that pushes us back another year, everything is gonna be more expensive, we're gonna have to ask for more money. That's the other side of it. Cause costs are only gonna go up. If we would have
And
done
they've
this-
built escalation into those for
Those
the current,
costs.
yeah.
For this
For
section.
this, yeah.
So we either, our choices are, we go with this right now, we pause it altogether, we wait another year, or we pause and try to have another meeting before, what's the date that has to be turned?
August 3rd or 4th.
I mean, that's only a week, that's
Yeah.
what, not even
I mean, it gives us a little time,
Little over a week.
so I think those are our three choices, really, right?
And when we talked about it as a group, and we don't get a vote, so it's easy for us to say things, but we still are moving the youngest kids out of the floodplain. We're committing to community spaces, and we're getting a new high school, which we desperately need.
Agree.
Related to our CTE programs, I mean, we see the things that Mr. Whitteman and Ms. Varnell and Mr. Skeeth are doing. Those are in facilities that aren't built for what they're doing.
No.
I mean, that's not gonna change.
No, but, and I agree, but we also need to be responsible with the buildings that we do have brick and mortar currently that are paid off.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I'm, you know,
That's my only
Yeah.
worry.
if we have to spend a little bit more to gain more, I think if we sell that back to the public saying, these are spaces that that we can utilize. So basically, we're buying an entire high school for $15 million, is what we're saying. By taking the SCAP funds away, we're keeping that entire facility for $15 million. Because we're not gonna demo it.
Right.
So, I mean, we could sell that, I mean, we can tell the public that, hey,
The concern is obviously we need this, all that. The drastic change, including now demoing a building that was, and that has lots of sentimental, I mean, you gotta look at all that for the voters.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just don't think
it just has some more, I mean, I know that it's not perfect, I know it's not a perfect building, but it's our second youngest
Yes.
building in the
Yeah.
district.
So can we, this is an option, can we table this for right now? We have all come up with all of our questions, get them to you guys to get answered. Give us a couple days to.
I'd be willing to,
I'm-
I'd be willing to meet next Monday if we can come back with some numbers.
I would too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that way we can try and get it on,
Cause then
On
it
the
gives us
ballot.
time to think about it and gives us time to ask the questions that we have.
Pull up that email from the that I forwarded you today.
Which-
I'm happy to sit here and talk
If
about
we
it
do
longer,
it
frankly,
email
but I
wise,
mean, to me,
I-
what's the
Executive
latest
session.
that
To
we
me,
can get?
to me, there's
We
only one.
need like specific
We don't
answers,
meet
like how
till
much,
Monday
what's the
night.
dollar
I
amount
agree.
gonna be?
Then, like Mike stated that, you're talking about 15 to 18 million to
We need to
keep
know how
a
much
building
it's-
that would cost much more than that to rebuild.
We need to
Yeah.
know how much
To
it's
sell that
gonna cost the
against voters,
taxpayers.
my God.
Yeah.
We just found out it's gonna cost us 130 million for a high school. We have one for 15. I'm not saying it's perfect,
No.
but
Yeah, yeah, I don't,
We-
That's a real big
That's
change.
fine. 5 p.m. on Thursday.
This is the whole.
I'd rather ask for more. And
think we-
honestly, that amount is an easier sell
I think
than the other.
What are you guys,
let's look and see if there's things that we might
No,
scratch.
he was just saying that we could kick some of the other projects out, like the turf fields. I feel really strongly that if we put a new high school there and we don't turf the baseball field and we don't turf the softball field and we don't say community can use these facilities when we're committing to youth sports and some of these things, like, though, that's why I didn't feel bad about bringing the proposal back, cause the core sentiments from the committee were get the young kids out of elementary, give us some community spaces and give us a new high school.
we still have third graders there, right? I mean,
But they
there's-
were gonna be at the middle school, which is in the floodplain, that
Still.
was, they knew that was a thing, I mean, that's, otherwise I wouldn't have brought it if I.
Is there any way, and again,
So we.
I hate being Monday quarterback, but is there any grants that we can start to really hammer on for community space?
I think we look for those there, we meet with our grant person every Tuesday.
I mean,
It's
and I know
I mean, that's how we
state,
funded the
federal,
weight room, was just a year-long, keep looking and chip away at. I mean, I think Ben had a $3,000 order and a $25,000 order and an $8,000 order, I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
just, and just,
that's the message to the community, is we're always gonna find ways to maximize your dollars.
you know,
Um,
and I'm just, so, yeah, I'm just wondering if there's ways to sharpen our pencil in certain areas and postpone it, and I know that the group has done it, like I said, I hate coming now.
Well, in some
But
ways,
there-
you are going to be able to do more at the high school because you are saving things that wouldn't have been saved in, I mean, you're gonna save that gym to make it a second gym. On the hill, we were gonna
That's
build 2 gyms. You know, so I mean, there's positives and negatives to anything. I think before the last time we met with the OSPI, I told Mitch and Charlie, I'm like, if we can't change their mind, we have to find a positive way to say that we're still meeting the needs of our kids in our community as an educational institution, which is we need new learning spaces, we need high school spaces that represent the high level of academics that our kids and our changing demographic is asking for. They want to not have to go to UW, Bothell, and Everett to get high level academics. They want to take these CTE classes, and regardless of where that gets built.
And I understand all that, and that's what I'm saying, you know, how can we do both? And that's why, for me,
So do we have a motion to
Education should
table
come
this
first.
and set a new, a meeting for next Monday?
I can be there.
What I would need to know is what do you want us to do between now and Monday?
We would
'Cause-
have to have questions and, yeah.
I'd like to, you guys
We
were
should- we
obviously
should have the
convinced
questions
this is the
tonight.
better solution. What was it that made you believe, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm saying I just haven't seen
If
your
we
way of
didn't
thinking.
own property already,
Yeah,
this is the plan we'd be doing.
sure,
We wouldn't be buying property to build a school, we'd be building a high school where the high school is.
Sure.
We owned a piece of property, so it gave us the option to look at something different.
Which we bought the property for
For
this.
right.
And so we told the community, we're buying this property to do this on it.
yeah,
And then now, and it's not our fault,
no, I
any
know.
of this,
I'm
but
just saying, like in the 2016 bond, I'm glad that didn't pass now, because if it would have passed, then we wouldn't have been able to use the SCAP dollars to remodel that high school.
Your high school wasn't it not eligible till May of this year? It wouldn't have been eligible in 2016.
For you, yeah, the full
We
amount.
we just picked up our SCAP May 28th of 26. The 30-year SCAP from 96 came up this May. So in
That's in Gold Bar, high school was built in 87. Did they do any?
but they did an addition at the high school that included the weight room, right? There there was something done at the high school that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, May of '26 is when we became eligible.
And we haven't maxed out the K-8 yet either.
Yeah, I feel like a 10% increase is a much better option than tearing down a, you know.
Well, what if we come up with all of our questions tonight? It can be after the meeting, whatever, but we have all of our
Can we go into an
questions.
executive session and for that, or we have to call that, never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if they have questions other than change my mind. I don't know what questions I'd ask.
Well, I think maybe like my question, like if we did want to increase the amount, how much is that gonna be for our taxpayers? Like
Sure.
those kind of things we
Yeah,
would
that's-
wanna
that's what I
know
would-
That's a
before.
number one question.
That's the number
Before-
one question. What would new tax burden be if we,
Well, if we look at
18 million?
the difference between 130 million and 140 million, cause he showed us both, we can probably
Extrapolate.
guess.
I thought that was like 8 cents or something like that.
So the,
I need to use the restroom really quick, so don't talk about anything important.
Oh, we never do.
Talk about everything.
Talk about
Yeah. We'll decide on.
So 8 cents,
Don't quote me on that.
8 times. I mean, it's not very much money.
That's what I'm saying. And then we still have property that we're doing nothing with.
Yeah.
right now, we can't do anything with it
Right.
anyway, cause we can't access it, cause DNR still,
Is that still going? I thought
That's
it
still
it
going
was
on?
negotiated that we were gonna get an
we've
easement.
been on it all year, they still, I mean, I was semi-joking with my, with the attorney today that was dealing with the capital facilities plan, I was like, gosh, I'm getting more increasingly nervous that, if the bond passed in November, we still wouldn't be able to access the property to build on it, cause we don't own the piece of property to get to the piece of property that we own. And that was a little bit of joking, but a little bit serious, so
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
been, and she,
Yeah, I thought we had an agreement for an easement.
I mean, they wanna sell it, it's just
I mean, this started
Processing this out.
2 years ago,
Yeah,
didn't it?
started 2 years
DNR
ago.
is apparently not a very expeditious organization.
It's just like King County.
Why would the state wanna make money?
No, it's not very fast. We continue to do all the things we're supposed to do, but.
You know, and it's almost a wait 2 years. I mean, yeah, we could try in next November, but turnout would not be what it would be for presidential election. I mean, we're at least hitting a midterm this November.
Okay, so the $130 million payment is,
When is full enrollment for this coming year? Has it already been? I'd like to see what our numbers look like.
We won't know true enrollment until end of September.
at the earliest, cause we're starting so late.
We are starting super late.
So the 130 million is $3.85. And the 140 million is 418. So you're 33 cents per 10 million, so if you put 20 more million on there, you're talking about 66 cents, so you're talking 418 plus, I mean, you're talking almost $5.
That'd be the first $3, no, before.
And currently it's at $2.54, $2.54 a thousand, so current collection, so
It'd go from 254 to what?
almost 5.
What would it,
254 is capital projects and general fund, so
Okay.
you're still gonna have the general fund of 160, and then you're gonna have 5 on top of that.
I think the question is, at the 140, what is it? And then,
$4.18.
and then, so what would it be with add 15 million to that?
Well, that's what I was saying, we're just guessing. The 130 million was $3.85, so you're talking about 33 cents for $10 million. So if you add 20 million, cause it's 18 million in SCAP.
Yeah, I sent a request to Trevor.
Yeah, I saw it. He tried to respond. I mean, these are all guesstimates, but that's
Sure.
60 cents.
Yeah.
66 cents, so 418 plus another 60 is gonna put you at 478, 480.
And that's on top of, Mitch, what you were saying, on top of the already 250.
So the 250 changes because part of that is capital projects,
Okay.
right? So right now, we got 90 cents capital projects, 160 of general fund. So the 160 stays, because we need that.
So it'd be the 5 plus the 160
So,
existing.
no, the 160 is part of that 5.
Okay.
It's part
Or
of
no,
that.
no, I'm sorry. The 90 is part of the 5. So, yeah, you're right. It's 5 plus the 160,
No.
so.
If you look at his chart, he has all that in there.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
All built in, so it'd be,
It's
So it's
total
built
tax
in, so
rate.
total would be the
total would
5.
be just under $5,
So it's adding 250 to existing.
Well, starting to see why nobody's built a high school.
60
I'm
cents.
saying, just, yeah,
It would be at $4 and,
But so to go up from, so
which
let's see, there's a
before
lot of
McCleary,
numbers.
before McCleary, they were paying $4.85.
So to go up from like the 140 to add on the 18 million, what did we say? That's an increase of how much?
About 60 to 70 cents. I mean, it's gonna be in that
60 some
Cents,
cents-ish.
yeah.
per thousand.
So on a, Mitch, math in your head, $500,000 home, how much is that 70 cents?
60 cents.
60 cents.
60 cents.
60 per 1,000. Is that right?
60 cents.
60 cents. I'm mathing in my head.
500,000. What's the average? 500.
That's 300 a year.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's 500,000 times 0.6.
It's basic math, TJ.
I wasn't getting it. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it.
You know, if it was gallons per minute, I expected you. No,
So 300 a year, 150 per tax payment.
300.
To keep it at what we had planned on.
God, I'm brain dead. I can't do
300, so it's gonna be,
Equals divided by 12. That's additional $25 a month for $500,000.
it's gonna be about $28 a month.
Yeah. For just the additional 15,
18.
18.
18?
That's what I'm saying, I think if we could
Sure.
skinny that down at all, if there's anything that we could do. I know that we want the community
I need bills.
spaces.
I'm gonna stress eat.
If you open the cabinet behind you, there's a box underneath there.
I'll push her, come on now, come on.
Want this?
No,
I'm good.
Paul wants one.
Paul, you want
Paul
one?
always wants one.
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Mitch? Kayla?
I mean, what was in the original bond for the work at the current high school and the current elementary is a total of $10.8 million. With an escalation of $653,000 for a total of $11.5 million.
And that's
To
field.
do like upgrades and get the buildings addressed without that was not using SCAP dollars, so that we retain those dollars for future 10-year down the road project.
Yeah.
So we,
Could rob Peter to pay Paul.
I mean,
Yeah.
We could take some of the SCAP dollars in, if need be,
Oh, you're saying at the high school?
no, at the elementary school.
Um,
At the K through 8 right now and push, I hate to say, but push the burden on to the 10-year from now.
Cause they costed it all out at $172,660,000 for all the projects that we had on there. And then we estimated about 32 million in state match to get to the 140. Cause we had 18 at the high school and 14-ish K8. I mean, that's back when we had our first meeting with them, but I mean, that's,
I don't think we don't appreciate all the work
No, no,
that
no.
you guys have
No,
done.
it's not
Yeah,
attacking
no,
you
no,
guys at all.
But for us, it's thinking of the community and the people that we
Yeah.
talk to every day.
Thinking
and-
about what's gonna pass, that's what.
Yeah.
We want it to pass, but we also wanna make sure that we are respecting the taxpayers as well. Because Isaac, I agree with you, I think people would, if they heard that we're tearing down a perfectly good building,
They're gonna.
they were gonna say that we didn't look at it right. And I think the people that are going to vote yes,
Are gonna vote yes.
are gonna vote yes either way. If I'm being honest,
yeah.
I'm gonna vote yes for it, and if you come back and say, we can save an entire facility and move our middle school, move and get rid of or repurpose the oldest building that we have that should be repurposed
Yeah.
You get so much
I'm-
more done.
for $30 a month, I'm sorry, sign me up.
I mean, I would, but
And so that's, I guess, we may have to change our language around why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And why we are not, we have to really communicate why the state's not doing this. And rather than, you can't buy a building right now for $15 million. I guess that's the, you could use that as part of your pitch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
That's the biggest
proof
thing.
in the pudding
isn't
is,
all
you know, we're
that.
paying $130 million for a high school. And we're gonna tear one down that we could occupy for 15. That's the only thing for me, it's not a
Yeah.
great mathematician, but that doesn't pencil out a whole lot for me.
yeah, I mean, if this was a personal investment, you'd find the extra 10%.
That's what I mean.
Right.
yeah. I wouldn't take a perfectly good car that I can smash, I'd give it to my kid to drive.
Right,
I-
yeah.
I wouldn't take it to the junkyard, you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would,
Yeah,
I'd come
yeah.
up with the extra money and let my child drive it.
Well, again, yeah, and it's through no fault of our own that we're in this position.
It's not our fault, and that's the
No,
thing,
it's
we,
Mitch's fault.
is there any way that we can, who do
That's a
we?
good change from it always being Dr. Granger's fault.
He's gonna need a Snickers now.
Who do we send the voters after to get the SCAP funds changed?
Legislature.
Alright. Is it local
And then it
OSPI,
becomes-
or is it just statewide, or is it something that we got all to go sit down and
I
sit
think
there and talk to Chris Reichdahl, or, you know, how do we?
if you ask my personal opinion, I think this is just, it's another example of small communities impacted differently than large communities. If I'm in North Shore and I'm on a cycle where I have to build new schools all the time.
Yeah.
You're buying land to build on it because you're growing in areas that you don't have schools in. And in small communities, when you grow or you shift, you're trying to maximize what you own, not
Mhm.
necessarily go.
Well, this comes right back to the depreciation of the buses, what people are gonna ask, why would you tear down a perfectly good high school rather than just repurpose it?
Well, yeah, cause my idea was like, call Chris Reichdahl, like, sit down, because if it's their interpretation, they're saying like, you have to talk to the legislature, yeah, I get that, but it's their interpretation of what the legislature is saying.
That's
That
what I mean,
is
is
our
there any way
issue.
that we can meet with people in the legislature right now? And
You just don't know who's gonna be in the legislature, that's the,
I think our first step is OSPI,
that's what I mean.
Well, they've been,
and I know they've been,
You've been,
I don't know, you guys have been
who do we
talking
have to harass,
So-
I guess?
So the person in charge of facilities at OSPI was my locker partner in high school. So I pushed and I tried, and it was, this is the interpretation of the law, this is the WAC, and we're following the law. So at this point, my suggestion would be get a legislator on our side to sponsor a bill to change it, to allow us to utilize the facility for,
K-12 education.
yeah.
which,
By the
But that's
4th.
not gonna happen before the
By the
November
4th of
election.
yeah,
I mean,
No,
I mean, that's
absolutely
something
not.
I know I could do,
Yeah.
but we couldn't do it in time.
Well, and we would need to decide of all the things we're advocating for, not to say SCAP isn't important,
But
is that what we wanna spend our time?
Sure.
Because fully funding basic I mean, there's a lot we're gonna be asking them for in education, we'd have to decide where SCAP lands on that priority list for us.
But the big but, can we get it done before the building's built? And I know that if we go to the voters, there'd be nothing better to come back and say we were able to get the $15 in the SCAP. We're not gonna.
I mean, they have the new, on the proposal that they have, if it passes in November, they have the high school finishing before the fall of 28. Move-in
2 years.
students.
That's
So-
the first which proposal?
It's building up on the basin, like that it would be ready, the academic areas would be ready by
Okay,
the fall of 28.
So let's say that somebody has like a lot of free time and gets a legislator to do this. Do we then, if it changes once we're building, can that money be credited back to us? Can we get that while we're still building? Or does it need to be in the law now before we go to the voters? Does anybody have an answer to that?
That's a lot.
No, because I have no faith that a bill introduced in this session is gonna pass in this session. They usually take 2 cycles.
Well, yeah,
To
even
get
if it
enough
took 2
support, you
cycles
know,
and we're
like-
still building, like,
Right.
and they say, okay, are we,
Sure, they could put a rider in the bill. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean, like,
'cause I'm like, what is it worth it for us? Would we actually be able to benefit from that? So it's it's
I
a
think
possibility.
it's still a benefit when you think about future bond projects.
Yeah.
Cause it's not gonna change for districts like us. You're gonna wanna use what you have for as long as you can. I would imagine, I mean,
That's why we don't wanna lose the high school. 'cause we
smaller
wanna-
rural districts are not generally
So
sitting
whatever,
on building capital that they're just like, we just have these extra buildings.
Sure.
Sitting around, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
my biggest issue is, cause I think when we had talked, I didn't realize that didn't click. Having to tear down the high
No.
school. So I think that's my issue. So what do you guys wanna do? Ask for more, keep it the way it is and ask for more?
What's the SCAP?
I think it's just, we need to ask for more. I don't see tearing
I
down
think
the high
I'm on
school
that
as an
page.
option.
Yeah,
We keep the plan as it is and we have to ask for more money.
I don't like to ask for more.
I don't like for more
Like
money either,
this
but
situation.
But it
we have
doesn't
to-
make sense to tear down,
It's the most responsible thing to do
The
for
second that got out,
our
it
district.
would be,
well, cause, okay,
It's already out.
one of the things people wanted before was like a stage and and things like that for
yeah,
like a, what is it, like a,
To cover your, yeah.
what do you call it?
theater?
Like a theater, but like a community kind of thing, That, like, this gives us more, maybe we can use this space if we save the high school for more community things. Like, I mean, to give back to the
You do
community.
anything with it besides
Well,
tearing it down.
Dance class, I mean, could we move the, our Sky Valley options thing or not?
well, I
What,
think we had a solid plan for where everybody moved.
yeah,
But regardless of what it gets used for, it can be used. Yeah,
But I think if we keep our current plan,
I think we gotta keep the current plan.
we're
and-
talking about keeping the current plan and asking for more money.
Okay.
That's where the 4 of us are.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, the only thing that I think that we'd have to sit and wait on is getting the new numbers and making sure that we don't hit that limit, but.
We won't hit the limit with $160 million ask.
Okay.
We won't hit, cause our capacity is 170.
Can we do 158, cause that's 18?
why don't we just come back and
That'll
wait?
be what makes the difference.
I'm okay meeting next week and then letting you get the numbers so we know the
Yeah.
exact.
I mean, cause we'll have to meet
Per
anyway
thousand.
because it needs to be redone, so.
Does Monday- Does Monday
157.99.
give you enough time?
I mean, it'll have to be if
And
you
then
want it on the
8.
November ballot, I mean, that's the thing. if you approved it for 160, I mean, it's whatever you guys wanna do. If you approve it for 160 tonight, all we're gonna do is go back to our bond attorney and say, update the dollar amount, the projects, go back to the original resolution 25-10,
Mm-hmm.
change the dollar amount,
Yeah.
because that's what was approved, because
So-
the projects, in resolution 25-10, the projects as they were originally are all written out, so it's not, the time to redo the resolution won't be.
So we're looking
Difficult.
at 158 basically, right?
I would just do 160.
I would do 160 to build, just
That's-
not knowing where the
Yeah.
SCAP number for just Gold Bar would come in, just if you're gonna go up, at least just make it round and.
I think the four of us are on the same page with that, because we're having a really hard time with tearing down a perfectly good building. Not that it's really good, but a building that can be utilized.
It's better than the middle school.
Yeah, it is.
And that's how I'm looking, I mean,
Yeah.
move them there, tear down the middle school.
So, it's probably not what you guys thought we were gonna hear tonight, but
No,
yeah.
I didn't know what we were gonna hear. Our responsibility is to bring you what we have. We've been working on it the best we can, so, and then our job's to sell what you guys pass as the,
But we also have to sell it too.
I think I put that on us a lot,
Yeah.
or the board. That's a big job for us.
So we have to,
I mean, our students deserve it, that's no doubt. We also know that our taxpayers are, having a lot of, I mean,
It's-
there's challenges right now, but that's not
everybody,
gonna get,
everybody's feeling it.
that's not gonna get better.
Well, and this, and
I mean,
this'll give us an idea in November of how people really feel, and then we can always go back to the drawing board if it does not pass. But then we'll have a lot more feedback by then to be able to change.
well, that's what we talked about, Isaac, remember back in March when we talked about it, is like, I don't know what to tell you about how people feel about a new high school, cause we've never
Tried.
asked, so I don't know what, the feedback could be. This is just about the dollar amount, and we just have to acknowledge that
This is the dollar amount.
that it's not gonna go lower, or it could be, we don't want a new high school. I will say in the CFAC meetings, a new high school wasn't anything people were like, no, we should never do that.
No, it's a great idea.
That's something people have been talking about for a long time, and I really listened to Mike that have lived here for a long time. And that's why it's always kind of good to have those people in these conversations,
Right.
because you guys, Mike knows everybody, and the people that know the people. So, okay, so ask for a motion to update resolution 25-10 to 160 million.
I would say a motion to create, directing the superintendent and the chief financial officer to work with the district's bond attorney to develop a resolution of the projects outlined in 25-10 with an ask of 160 million.
Kayla,
That
did
way
you type
you're-
that?
That way you're directing us to do it, and then we just go do it, and we file it by the deadline, and there's no, and that way if he says, no, you need to have a new resolution 25-13 or something, there's no.
So we're gonna take what he just said,
Yeah.
and Kayla got it, so do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll motion that.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So what we'll do is that's what we'll propose to the bond attorney. If they say, no, you gotta meet and vote on it, then I'll
Then
call
let
you
us know,
guys
we
and
can do Monday,
jump on a
we can do
virtual
Zoom.
meeting or something,
We can
either
do whatever.
Thursday evening or,
Whatever.
for us, probably more days to get it to the county elections office is better than Monday night with a turnaround by Tuesday at 5 PM, cause you never
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen.
So yeah, just let
So,
me know as soon as possible, and then I can get in touch with
Okay.
them, so.
So is Michael and Isaac?
Yes, Michael,
First.
motioned, and then he seconded.
Second.
okay, so we will,
I said, this is gonna be really
And
short.
like
if I
Judy
was
said,
gonna-
we appreciate everything that you've done.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're equally disappointed in just the interpretation, but
that's
I
pretty
mean, our
ridiculous.
responsibility is
Just
to come
stupid.
back and tell you what they told us and then try to, like I said, Charlie and Mitch, I mean, I think everybody tried to make the case that in districts like us, just, that's in our mind, a poor
It's a horrible decision.
interpretation of of what small communities likely need. Like I said, if you're building a school every 3 to 5 years, cause that's just the normal cycle, people are not. Eventually your buildings go away anyway, just cause people are like, why would we send our kids to
Sure.
the oldest elementary? But in a community like ours that isn't sitting on just buildings that
Have we, well,
we can understand that
talk
too.
afterwards.
So.
Well, our business was only 2 items, but I appreciate like everybody discussing and taking the
Yeah.
time to like go through all of this.
Thank you
Um,
for.
So
being
do I
patient
have
with
a
us.
motion to adjourn? Do
Motion to adjourn?
I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright.